Come on in the room. Bucks lose it tonight. Bucks lose it 122-102. A 20-point loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder on prime time. NBA rivalry week. I think everybody just found out that the Bucks are rivals with OKC. I didn't know, but the NBA decided that tonight is rivalry week, or this week is rivalry week in the NBA. And rivalry week starts off with the Cleveland Cavaliers whooping up on the Charlotte Hornets. That game got close late into it. And then you have Bucks OKC. And the Milwaukee Bucks get dog walked, a wire-to-wire win for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They basically jumped out to a 35-18 lead in the first quarter, didn't look back, and they basically held a 20-point lead for the entire game. The end of the first quarter ended 38-13, and Oklahoma City won 122-102. Come on in the room. We don't have a doctor. Let's get this thing rolling. We are live.
Chris King.
Just us two tonight. It's a late one. This qualifies Bucks After Dark. Even though it's a home game. But a Bucks After Dark edition on a home game. 9:30 Eastern tip, 8:30 Central tip on ESPN tonight. Bucks lose it 122-102. Let's do this, and let's get into a game recap real quick. We won't be out here long. It is late, and again, there's not much to talk about. It's a bad basketball team. Giannis, 19, 14, and 7. One steal, 8 of 11 from the field. He was a minus 11 on the night. Originally I was going to say, I'll say this about Giannis. Originally, I was going to say that I thought his effort was poor. I thought, there were some things that the Bucks could have done that were a lot better. I thought he could have played with a little more intensity. But you go back and look at, and of course, the game's in it, so we didn't even look at the tape yet or anything after, any other, cuts of footage from plays and what have you, whatnot. But Lou Dort was all over Giannis. I mean, he's a tank. And, I think, again, just shows, another night where I know, so we're talking about the effort. I don't know how much of it was effort. Again, it looked like he could have played a little harder. But, again, this is OKC. And it's another night where Mark Daigneault, another head coach, just runs circles around Doc Rivers. And I thought the game plan that OKC had was good. OKC comes out and plays with a certain level of intensity. Right? Like, there's no joke. You know what they're going to do. You know how they're going to come out and play. And so I thought if you watch it, I mean, a lot of teams try to do what OKC did tonight. A lot of teams try it, and they don't do it successfully. But OKC, when they build that wall, when they are trying to stop Giannis and Trae, like, they did it. Like Lou Dort, when you're trying to deny the ball into Giannis, Lou Dort was doing it. And not many teams, not many players are able to have that kind of success. So I was fully prepared to come here and talk about, the effort level from Giannis. He only had 2 shots at a half, whatever, 3 shots by halftime, whatever it was. But honestly, I mean, I challenge you to go back and watch that basketball game. And I feel like, again, some of it might have been that, but I think majority of it just had to give credit. Like, OKC had a plan when Giannis got, like, there was a possession in the third or fourth, I think it was the fourth quarter. Giannis on a fast, boom, gets it, tries to drill, goes behind his back. Somebody's there to take it. He was fast break. And if you remember, Chet, like he was about to twist his ankle. He lands on the ball, as Giannis. Like, they crowd really well, and they do a great job of crowding without fouling at all times. So again, I will agree to an extent, and that Giannis could have been better. But again, he was 8 for 11 tonight, picked his spots. What he didn't do was force it. And I think maybe you'd expect, in a game against OKC that you do force it. But he didn't. And he picked his spots well, tried to get in, score where he could. I thought he had 7 assists, passed the ball effectively. But, it just wasn't the Bucks' night tonight.
Well, and then real quick, let's be honest here. Like, the reason that game plan is in effect and it's working so well is because nobody else is threatening you. on the basketball team. Nobody else is. You can help off all you want against this basketball team, and they're not going to make you pay. So that's why I think they had the biggest success at doing it so far, because they just recognize, hey, nobody else is going to beat us.
100%, no question. Weird stuff from Dockers, and like Gary Harris plays 8 minutes. He starts, but then he plays 9. I don't know. Was he injured? I don't understand. Again, I don't understand starting him. But again, the other thing we'll talk about: KPJ out, Miles Turner out. KPJ is going to be out for an extended period of time with the oblique strain. That's probably 2 to 3 week injury minimum. So that's unfortunate. Again, I'm sure a lot of I can't say this out loud. A lot of the KPJ sucks people. Oh, he's so could have used him tonight. Because your backcourt looked abysmal. And AJ Green made it look a little bit better on the score sheet, but nah, it wasn't good. But Gary Harris plays 9 minutes, and then in the first, I believe he played them all in one quarter. I believe he played all of one stint, 3 points, 1 of 1, and didn't get back into the game. Kyle Kuzma, 9 points, 4 rebounds tonight. He wasn't good enough, 4 for 12. Just wasn't good. But OKC's defense was suffocating. AJ Green, 15 and 3 tonight, 5 of 10 from 3, 4 of 9. 5 of 10 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, 2 turnovers. Again, he was a little bit of window dressing, hitting a couple of those threes. I didn't think he did anything great. I mean, defensively, he got cooked. Okay, Moniker saying thinks Harris got hurt. Okay, that makes sense then. If that's what it was. Basketball Reach saying Harris be minus 15 8 minutes. I mean, again, Basketball Reach, that was just that was a starting group. They were all in that first 8 minutes. They were a minus 15. All you look up and down the list, that's what it was. Rollins, 10.7 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. Hey, and 3 turnovers. I'm telling you, if KPJ had that stat line, they'd be telling how bad he was. KPJ has had a stat line like this, and they've been telling you how bad he was for last week. And then we find out he's been playing the last 5 games injured. That was the crazy thing is 10, 7, and 3 on 4 of 11, shooting 36% from the field. That Ryan Rollins stat line where Ryan Rollins is healthy, that's what KPJ has been putting up hurt for the last week. And you've had a lot of people telling you KPJ sucks, got to trade KPJ. Oh my God, sell high, sell high, sell high. That's the stat line he's been putting up for the last 5 games. And that's what you got from a healthy Rollins tonight. It's different when you're on the scouting report. We're seeing that. Kiss that most improved player award, probably goodbye for Ryan Rollins. Again, he's outplaying what he's been, but tonight didn't have it. Bobby Portis, 15, 6, and 9. Got him a flagrant foul in there as well. Cole Anthony was, I thought if there were 2 bright spots tonight, it was Cole Anthony, Pete Nance. 17, 3, and 3 from Cole Anthony. He had a really nice game, except for the 5 turnovers. Jesus. Okay, so he had a nice game for what I expected. Pete Nance, 11 points
when he came in, and then it kind of tapered off. So
Pete Nance, 11 points, 4 rebounds. I thought Pete Nance was good. I thought the energy was there. Gary Trent still can't find it. Ajax was in, running around. Then you had your bench guys on the OKC side of things. They were just, you can't say enough. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is right now, he's the best player in the world right now. He was the best player on the floor tonight. You got to give credit where it's due. 40 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists. Bucks couldn't stop him. AJ Mitchell, 18 points. Chet Holmgren, 10 and 7. Lou Dort, 13 and 4. Cason Wallace, 9 and 2 boards. And his pride is probably hurt because he tried to push Bobby Portis. He tried to sneak attack Bobby and push him, and it just did not work at all. Isaiah Joe, 5 points. Williams, 18 for OKC. Again, it was a wire-to-wire win. They got up 20 early and never looked back. And OKC outmanned and outmatched the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. There's, you tip your cap. There's really nothing you can do about it. And Oklahoma City Thunder are just a better basketball team, a more well-rounded basketball team, a more energized basketball team. When they took shots, they went in. I just want to look at the percentages. Milwaukee shot 49%. OKC shot 54% from 3, both around 39%. OKC hit was 14 for 36. Bucks were 19 for 41. So he had a couple more threes, but game was just out of reach. And some nights there's just not much you can do. I guess you wish you could have. The Bucks played them even after the first quarter, so I guess you could wish that the Bucks did more of that early, but they didn't. And OKC is the best team in the league, like it tonight. We'll read a super chat and then we'll get Chris' thoughts here. He says, "Is there a way to trade the Bucks' remaining first rounders for someone like Coach Spo?" Okay, no. He would fix a lot of Giannis problems with the Bucks. Yeah, Miami's not giving up Coach Spo for any first, and I wouldn't do it for a coach anyway, but that's another story. NYC Randy, super chat. There's my guy. He says, it's time to just start seeing what teams are willing to offer for Giannis. This year's over. Horst is not willing to do what he has to. I don't know what you mean. Horst is not willing to do what he has to. Like that quote, I don't understand that. Again, I'll just say this one thing. It takes two teams to make trades. This isn't 2K where you send out an offer and the computer's got to respond immediately. Like, no or yes. Or, okay, well, I'll add some more stuff in and we can just do. That's not how this goes. Like, these are real people, real teams, real everything. And, yeah, I mean, again, this is what I implore everyone in the chat to do when you talk about trades. Don't just think of it from the Milwaukee Bucks perspective. When you think of a trade, this is what I try to do. Literally, pretend like you're being paid millions from whatever the other team is. If it's Memphis, I see John Morant, people saying John Morant. If it's Memphis, pretend like you are being paid $5 million a year. I don't know how much these guys make at GMs. Imagine they're paying you $5 million a year to be the GM for the Memphis Grizzlies. And you'd have to go through every single scenario as to why you would trade John Morant for whatever it is. And then go back and be John. I mean, I'm literally, think of it like that. And think like your job is on the line for these decisions. Because it literally is. So I guess what I want to cause when you say John Horst's not willing to do what he's got to, there's another GM on the phone. And the other thing is you can't call up somebody and be desperate as hell. Hey, no, we got to get this done. If you sound like that, they're going to say, well, okay, you better, if you're that desperate, I need Rollins. I need your first round pick. I need Bobby. I need Kuzma. I need every real asset if you want it this bad, right? Like, this is like trying to get the girl, right? Like, if you try too hard, it's trying to get the girl. It's trying to get the job. Have this is a perfect example. You go get a job. You got your resume in. Imagine calling the recruiter every day. Did I get the job? You are desperate, man. Like, I don't think you're the right fit. That's how that goes. So I guess I just caution when we say stuff like that. How Doc is still the coach is mind-boggling. Mr. Untradeable and Rollins asked once again. Agreed on the rest of those points, NYC. But I just caution the Horst not willing to do what he has to. We know John Horst is on the phone lines. We know John Horst has pressure from in some places to trade Giannis. And we know John Horst has the propensity. He's always tried to do what he has to do. Whether that's going and getting Damian Lillard, you may not agree with it. It may not have worked. You may not agree. It may not work with this waving of stretching of Dame to then go get Miles Turner. Like, he is always again. It takes guts to fire a coach. I'm not saying it was the right decision, but he fired Adrian Griffin in the middle of a seat. Like, he fired Mike Budenholzer 2 years after time. Like, he is always willing to do. Like, when you say he won't do what he has to do, I disagree with that. Vehemently, I disagree with that notion that he won't do what he has to do. William Arrange says it's very frustrating. Super chat, appreciate it. It's very frustrating to watch OKC play. It's very frustrating to watch OKC play. Play. They get away with so much physicality, correct? But when you try to match it with them, in comes officials to save them. I'll say this on that, William. Appreciate the super chat. I think I mentioned it before. There was a podcast. I can't remember who was talking on it, but it was Eamon Shumpert. And he said that the difference is when all 5 guys are playing one way versus 1 or 2. And when all 5 guys are up in your grill, playing hard, playing physical, knocking you around. And that's what OKC does, really across the board. It's hard for them the intensity is so high. It's a referee sees it, and yeah, they're not going to call as much. But when you're on the other side, it's just one guy trying to play hard, one guy trying to get up in guys' grill. yeah, that almost or out of nowhere you're down 10. Now you start upping the intensity. That looks weird to an official. That's a foul. Hold on, you ain't even playing like that all game. OKC opened up the opening tip. They were in Giannis's grill. He took again 3 shots all first half. They were up in him to start the game, start to finish. They brought that intensity. They matched throughout the game. So again, I agree they're allowed to do it. But again, much like Indiana in the series that we had against the Pacers last year, they were the more physical team throughout, and the Bucks were not. And I think the officials recognized that. But that's what I saw. Chris King, what'd you say?
Yeah, it's always kind of a treat to see just the night and day difference of what the great teams in this league are doing and what the Bucks are doing. And tonight, if you watch that game from the start to the end, you knew that OKC was the more aggressive team, that they were the more passionate team, that they were the team that was going to give effort. They had the deeper bench. It's just in every which way you were outmatched tonight, and that's a problem. That's a problem no matter if KPJ and Miles Turner are out. Look, they weren't going to save probably another beatdown if they were in the lineup. I don't believe either. Certainly probably would have helped, made it better. But guys aren't ready. Guys aren't ready to really play big minutes and take down good teams. You look at Ryan Rollins getting inserted in that starting lineup again, and they got to call a timeout and rip him for not being able to get the ball past half court, not being able to take care of the ball. So they've got Giannis running the point within a minute and a half of this basketball game. Like, has it got that bad for Ryan Rollins to not be able to take care of the ball in the first minute and a half of a basketball game? Like, that's what I saw from him. It was very underwhelming. Pete Nance, I mean, since we didn't do MLK Day, I got to give the guy credit because he actually looks like one of those guys that's out there playing hard. It might not look pretty all the time. His running motion, his shooting form, all that stuff might not look pretty, but I'll tell you what, it works. And it goes in, and he makes the hustle plays. He's on the offensive glass. He's defending SGA and going and switching. Like, that's the versatility we need in this lineup. Like, we need the length. We need the wingspan from him. And we also need just the ability to go out there and play with effort. And Pete Nance has provided that. It's been a nice little spark. Obviously not nothing that's going to be mind-blowing or absolutely going to change this basketball team, but it does do some good. So I've got to give him credit for being consistent and actually getting on the floor and providing something of value to this basketball team that we didn't really think the bench had any value for a while. And, I mean, it shows in some parts. Like, Cole Anthony gets his first opportunity at a lot of minutes again. Did he wow anybody? Not really. Like, he had a couple of moments, but a lot of bad moments. I remember one of those turnovers. He tries a no-look pass to Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
It went to the box seats. Like, there's so much dumb stuff going on this basketball team. They don't value possessions. And I will speak to the Giannis thing, right? Like, I saw the effort that OKC was deploying on him. Great. They swarmed him. They fronted him. They put multiple guys on him, different positions. You had Cason Wallace guarding him. And then you had Lou Dort. And then everybody, obviously Chet. So, like, they had the ability to do that defensively. And so I think that made it hard for him. But there were some that I'm like, hey, Giannis, that's not really a competitive possession. And I think at the very least we can admit that he was not playing up to the standard that we know him to play on a night in and night out basis. And maybe that's due to just this team being awful, god-awful in certain points. So, I mean, all in all, yeah, I think my main takeaway is just how outmatched we were and how, like, really this brings you down to earth if anybody had any hope with this basketball team, especially now with KPJ out for a little bit. Like, you just don't have it. You just don't.
Yeah, you don't. And I mean, to your point about Giannis, it feels like it rubs off, right? Like, it feels like all of the talk. I mean, again, it's I'm not gonna lie, man. I wish that I could. I wish we could speed up these next 2 weeks. I've never wanted 2 weeks to move so fast to get to February 5th and just see what are we doing, what happens, or something. To your point about John Horst doing, just do something to let us know what direction we're going in. Because, and they mentioned it on the broadcast, I'm very interested. We don't have Justin tonight, but I'm very interested in seeing, what not necessarily what Doc says, but Giannis has comments every single night about what he thinks and what's going on. I'd be interested to see, what he says. Sometimes his body language does not look good. But I'll say this too. I mean, he's a guy who, and they showed it during the broadcast, like it doesn't seem, when he has the minutes limit, if you're checked out, why do you want to keep playing past the minutes limit? And he clearly does. So I mean, if you're checked out, why, shit, I got my 30 minutes and we go home. And they showed the broadcast where Doc was telling him, hey, you're at time. Like we can't, and it seems like Giannis got a couple extra minutes to get in there. And Giannis doesn't like the minutes restriction, but clearly the medical staff is working with him, and that's what they want to do. So again, it's good to see that level of fight. I know you're talking about we did miss the game. We weren't on Monday, MLK Day, and the Bucks beat the Atlanta Hawks, which is big to get that win. It was big to get that win because you got to within a half game. Atlanta gains it all back tonight because they beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and you lost on the same night. So they're back to a game and a half up. But again, if you lost the game, you'd be 2.5 games back from the 10 seed. Again, we're talking about this crazy. We're talking about games back up the 10 seed. That's how bad things are right now. But again, in the next 2 weeks, you've got to figure this thing out. What direction are you going in? We have still not heard anything to where the Bucks are. I have not heard anything definitive to where the Bucks are taking calls on Giannis, unless something changes. Again, I think it's going to take Giannis asking out. I'll talk about the meeting in a second, but I think he will have to ask out for the Milwaukee Bucks to move him. And again, I just don't. We'll talk about it in a second too. I just don't think it just doesn't. To me, it just doesn't make sense to do it in the middle of a year because I'm not sending you to Miami and I'm not sending you to New York. So why else would why would I send him to the East? Unless there's some handshake deals like, hey, we're gonna do a solid by you. But again, how does that help them? How does doing Giannis a solid help the Bucks? So again, it just doesn't make sense to trade him this year because the only place I trade him is somewhere west. Because I'm not about to have you play in the East and whoop my ass for the next 5-6 years. I'm not doing that. NYC Randy super chat says on the basketball side, not one guy can make an entry pass. I have zero idea why we went away from Giannis at point guard. It's so hard to blame it's so hard to not blame Doc when I see us run zero actions all game. I think the ball pressure was heavy maybe tonight on Giannis. That's the only thing I could think was even Giannis it seemed like Lou Dort was really in him a little bit. But I mean I agree. But here's the thing: we still got looks and we didn't hit them. We just didn't hit them.
And they hit every single one.
They did. Yeah.
What can you do at some point? At some point, like we saw at the end of the Atlanta Hawks game, right? We seem to have an answer after we let them come back from 23. We seem to have an answer for everything they were doing on the opposite end. We had no answer tonight. OKC had all the answers, literally all the answers. Anytime we tried to cut it back to 15, 13, it was another 3. It was an and 1. It was an easy bucket for Shea. It was everything that a good team needs to have, and they did that tonight. So you just got to chalk it up to like, man, they made shots. They made a lot of shots, and we're partially to blame for, or a lot to blame for those looks and how easy it was and it seemed for them. But at the other end, right, we just didn't make the shots either.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And start in a hole. You can't start in a hole. The way you start in a hole, I don't have any confidence in this team bringing it back. No,
you never do. Guys, if you guys do see any quotes for Giannis after this one, you let us know. We don't have Justin tonight, but you let us know. I see Liger's in here saying he has to leave now to get a supermax, which is correct. And trade is soon. But let's dive back into, because again, I think we're good on the game tonight. They got the ass whoop. I see a Thunder guy. Was I and you OKC Thunder NBA champs? Appreciate you. He said, as a Thunder fan, I was worried about Dort defending Giannis. Worry no more. Appreciate you for being in here. And a lot of times we beef with other fans of the team. I got nothing bad to say about OKC tonight. I thought they did a great job. Thought they were well coached. It looked every bit like the defending NBA champs. And again, I think it's a big piece when you are, last thing I say on OKC, when you are the hunted, if you will. They had a stretch where they went like 3-3 or whatever it was. When you're the hunted and you're the NBA champs and teams are giving you their best shot, it's tough to come out every single night, and especially with all the injuries the OKC has as well, and to come out every single night and play at a high level, and they did that. So I give OKC a ton of credit for being locked in on a title defense. And yeah, like I said, I don't have anything bad to say to him. Now let's get to the Giannis stuff real quick. Chris, I want to get to Giannis. I do want to get to KPJ in a second, but to the Giannis stuff, where again, these 2 weeks gonna have to play out, and people keep a trade is soon. This is what I was going back to. From a media perspective and even from a fan perspective, and maybe I've said this before, I don't know. I talk to myself a lot. These shows run together. I can't remember what I say on here versus what I talk about with people versus what I talk to myself. But I know I've said this before, but like, it's not 2K. And when I say that, I'm not even talking about what I just talked about, but like, I think when people say blow it up and we'll do whatever and we'll get draft picks, I challenge you to do this. I challenge you to do this in the chat. Go look at, because that's somebody tweet me this. They said, well, you have a much better chance in getting a you lucked out on Giannis. You got a much better chance with a high draft pick. Go look at the Bucks' top 6 picks over the last, when they've had a top 6 pick. This predates John Horst. No, we talked about John Horst drafting. Go look at the Milwaukee Bucks when they had a top 6 pick over the last 25 years, going back to Bogut and I think 2000. Go tell me go look at all of those guys when they had a top 6 pick, and you tell me how that turned out. Tell me how that turned out with a top, not even a 1 pick, because ain't no guarantee they got ping pong. Ain't like you just losing at the first pick. Top 6 pick. Tell me how it panned out for the Milwaukee Bucks. All those guys. That's one. Number 2, I think people overvalue, or let me say this, they undervalue losing. And I don't know if it's because since 2018 you've had a good team, but you forgot what losing feels like. But I'll guarantee you this. I guarantee you Brooklyn Nets fans, I guarantee you they appreciate KD foot on the line. I guarantee they go back to that in a heartbeat. They go back to the day where Kevin Durant had his foot on the line and you lost in the second round to the Mark. You go back to that in a heartbeat versus what you're seeing today. And they're tanking and they can get all the picks they want and try to. I guarantee you that was more fun than what the hell they're going through right now. I think people undervalue losing, Chris, because you don't just, it's not 2K where you just simulate the season. And let's do, or it's not with college football, 22 and NCAA, you can just simulate through your recruiting. Let's do the recruiting class. It don't go like that. You have to sit there and watch 82 games and go 30 and 52 and then go 26 and 6. You got to do that. Act like it doesn't just go. You have to sit down and watch it 2-3 years before you get any return on investment. And then when you get that return, and again, everybody will bring up, well, look at this team. Look at this. I can go through 50,000. I can go, again, you say we're losing. Okay, I'll get you. I can go through 50,000 more examples. There are way more teams because everybody bring up, well, look what Phoenix is doing. Look how OKC Turner. I get for every one of those examples, I'll match you a Charlotte. Charlotte ain't been to the playoffs and won nothing in a damn decade. I'll give you Washington. I'll give you Brooklyn. I'll give you Portland just now. And even when you finally come out, even when you finally on the other side of it, you're just now starting. It ain't like you competing right away. Even Phoenix in the West, they feel good about what they're doing. They ain't winning nothing this year. West is too competitive. So you turned it around real quick. You don't have a chance in hell of winning nothing. It just feels better.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't really feel strongly about moving on from Giannis, but to play devil's advocate and just to kind of hear your point of view, what do you say to the people that believe it's already over And that's inevitable at this point. Like, it's inevitable that you're gonna have to rebuild when Giannis is done in Milwaukee. What do you say to those people that would just rather give up earlier instead of try to use these desperation moves close as hell to the deadline? You got injuries, you got washed up players on your team. What would you say to those people who are saying, well, it's already over, so there's no point in hanging on?
Yeah, I'm looking at Moniker, who says, I'd rather go 30 and 52 than 41 and 41. Team has no asses, no chance of winning. No, I'd rather go 41-41 with Giannis and compete for the playoffs and see when you get in there what happens. Because again, and I'm not saying this happens, but if you could get on a run, the East is not now. Maybe in the West, I would agree, but in the East, it ain't no world beaters out there. There really aren't. There really aren't. But to you asked, what would you say to those people that say, well, ask your question again. I want to make
Like,
sure.
if anybody's thinking, all right, well, it doesn't get any better from here, no matter the desperation moves ahead of the deadline, no matter what kind of reinforcements you can get or scrape by with, just to maybe get into the playoffs. I mean, you're 18 and 25.
Yes.
So, like, even you still might miss the playoffs. Like, this isn't a surefire thing, regardless of what move you make. Like, what do you say to those people who are just ready to just give up on the Giannis thing as a whole?
Yeah, I say it's not just about this year. I think again, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, again, it's easy to say when you're not in the organization or you're not a part. But if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, your goal is to get him to re-sign. And that's what I'm looking at more so than competing this year, is figuring out a way for him to re-sign for the next for a 4-year supermax and trying to compete with him again at that point. Again, I tell you, everybody says, oh, I don't think I get Doc Rivers as coach right now. I think Doc Rivers is going to – I don't think he doesn't make it past this season. So if you could get Giannis to re-sign in October with a new head coach and maybe John Morant and Giannis, I'm just making this up. I do think another – let me say, here's the thing. Everybody says, oh, they're not competing. Everybody tells me that Doc Rivers is the worst coach of all time, and I agree. He's been ass. If Doc Rivers is so bad, and if you're telling me if you got a good coach in here, you tell me they couldn't get more out of that group than what Doc Rivers is getting, so this group wouldn't be better. Two, the only thing I say about competing this year, the Bucks do have a positive record with Giannis in the lineup. He just missed a third of the season. KPJ has missed a half of the season. So with their guys, they actually do have a positive record. Again, ain't world beaters, but they do have a positive record. But so that's what I say. It's more about the future with Giannis than it is without. And it's the only thing I'll say too, Chris. The Milwaukee Bucks have had 2 superstars in franchise history. Kareem asked out, and Giannis, we're seeing whatever happened. Like my point is, all that basketball in between, these guys, for all people, give them up. We'll just rebuild. No, you more than likely you will not. That all I'm saying, it is much easier said than superstars don't grow on trees. You had a number 1 pick. You picked Andrew Bogut. He was not he was a great player in his prime. He wasn't a real superstar. I wouldn't call him a superstar. He was a very good player. Broke his elbow, and that was it for that. You had a number 2 pick, Jabari Parker. Looked like he could be something. Busted up his both knees. You had a number 6 pick. They picked Yi Jangalang, whatever my man is. Didn't work. I'm just telling you. My point in that is, again, could you luck up and get Victor Wembanyama? Absolutely, you could. You could get Victor Wembanyama. More than likely, you won't. More than likely, you will sit around and you'll end up with a bunch of guys who don't pan out. And that's my fear, is that, you end up with bad basketball teams. What was Brandon Jennings was like, number 10 pick, 10th overall, something like that. That was top 10 pick. Nice, fine player. It's not a superstar. That's the type of, that's where you can be. Or you could just tank. And again, Just go look down the line of teams that were bad. You say you'd rather go 32-50. Somebody who said moniker, I'd rather go okay. Would you rather be a Philadelphia 76ers fan? That's what they sold you. Look at the 76ers. They sold you on trust the process. They got Michael Carter Williams in the rookie of the year, ass. Jahlil Okafor, rookie of the year, ass. Joel Embiid, always hurt. Ben Simmons, ass. I'm just saying, like the Philadelphia 76ers did all of the things that you guys are saying that you wanted to do. They did all the stuff. They never got out the second round. And they purposely lost. So you say they subjected their fans. Again, the Bucks are playing bad. They subjected their fans to literally whatever you think the Bucks are right now. The Sixers in their trust the process era were worse than that. They were worse than that. And they got and what they got out of that was a second round appearance. So all I'm saying is it ain't guaranteed. Well, last I said, Chris, James, at least Philadelphia drafted Tyrese Maxey and Edge. That's all it is. That's what the bad team. That's all they give you is hope. And the difference right now is because you have Giannis and you're losing, you feel like all hope is lost. And I'm telling you, when you are a team that's tanking, that's all they can sell you on is the hope that the next guy is good enough. And I'm sorry, as good as, and I like Tyrese Maxey, good player. He is young. I don't right now. He's not a player that can win you a championship as a number one option. You still need a number one option. You still need one. Yeah, the Philadelphia Sixers are going nowhere until they get that guy. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
I mean, I think you could kind of say the same thing about what we're actively doing in off seasons and at the deadline, though. That's all we're getting at this point ever since the championship is just hoping that guys are going to come in and impact this roster to where they can get ourselves back into a contention level team. And, I mean, it hasn't happened that way. But I think what the important thing is that, okay, if you're holding out hope, and as a lot of fans still should be, I think there's still a lot of season left in the sense of if we can get the right pieces in, if we can maybe make the moves from a head coaching standpoint or a coaching staff standpoint, like there is room, but it's slowly ticking. Like, the clock is slowly ticking. We're gonna start moving faster, and if you're not able to make the right moves, this thing will bottom out. Like, no doubt about it. This thing will not get better. You're gonna burn some bridges along the way. You're gonna ship off guys that may have been maybe decent to keep. You're gonna do all this stuff just to try to keep Giannis happy. And if it doesn't work out this year, then what makes us think that he's going to sign that extension? And so you're kind of in desperation mode to me. So it's just like, what kind of moves do we need to make to get this thing back on track to at least get in those playoffs? Because I think there is value when Giannis is in the playoffs regardless. Again, you talk about weak East. The East is objectively weak. Like the East, nobody really scares me when you have Giannis on the floor. And then if you can get some extra pieces in, maybe fresh head coach in, but, you just got to get there. And now being 7 games under 500, no KPJ, limited backcourt, like the moves that we need to make have to happen. Like there's no doubt about it. Otherwise, this thing is going to continue to go the way it's been going of, okay, you can get a win, close win against a team that's one spot ahead of you in the playoff race, but you play real teams and you lose. You play bad teams sometimes and you lose. And this thing could fall out.
Yeah, no, it could. And I think, again, when we talk about big fish, and that's what we're talking about the Bucks, I think you have to go. Again, I know John Morant said people in Memphis on the ground are still saying that Morant is. I don't think a couple games. Morant had a good game tonight too, but I don't think a couple games changes his standing in the franchise. I think you have to go. I think you have to go for it. And again, Ryan Rollins, great. I like Rollins. To me, the notion that he's like untouchable is insane to me. I like him, good player, real good player. And really the best part of Rollins is he has a great contract. But again, I wouldn't trade him for fringe moves. Like I wouldn't just throw him in. But if you're telling me I can get John Morant, who has 3 years left on his contract, I'm taking again. Why not? kids get the whole because I guess my whole thing is like if we're talking about making swings and tanking and all, to me, like what again, given the prospects that I'll just say this, more than likely your tank job will not work. The odds are that blowing it up doesn't get you any closer to a championship than riding it out does. It really does. I'm just saying statistically, like again, go down the line of teams. Statistically, bad teams stay bad, and again, sometimes they pick it up, but you have to make the right moves, have the right coach. All like it's just not a. If it was a guarantee, I'd say sure, but it's not a guarantee. Again, I go, and it ain't just basketball; it's football. Look at my Panthers. We just made it back to playoffs after 7 years. We just had a home play. It's been 10 years since the Panthers had a home playoff game, and they got one because they went 8-9 and because they went 8-9. Like I'm telling. And you let go of your franchise court. I'm living proof example. I promise you. From now, maybe some of you, again, y'all ain't Panthers fans. Maybe you guys thought it was fun watching Teddy Bridgewater play quarterback and watching Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. I promise you, it was not fun. It was not fun watching those guys. I had more fun watching Cam Newton go out there every single game and us lose than watching us lose with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. I had way more fun doing that. And I've just now got some of that joy back with Bryce Young, who, again, you say, should have let him go. We got the first pick at Bryce Young. Up until this year, everybody told me he was a bust. So my point, it's never some guarantee that this just works out. So I guess my point is, if that's what we're saying, it's not a guarantee that it works out anyway. Ride the wheels out. If you get me Ja Morant and Giannis, I ride that out. And again, if he resigns, I'll do this again for 3-4 years. And then at that point, you do a Dirk Nowitzki thing and ride him out to the sunset, and then you start over and do this. But again, that's just me, man. I like Giannis. There's no way, unless he asks out. There's no, again, if he asks out 100%, I'm not going to hold him hostage. And I'm not going to trade him where he wants to go, but I'm not going to hold him hostage. But until he does that, I mean, yeah, I'm going to fight like hell to keep Giannis on the roster and to keep the train rolling.
Yeah, I think, again, it's just a situation of can you save it? Can you save it? Within, what is it? You said it's 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks.
February 5th.
Yeah. So it's can you save it? And you've got to certainly make the strides. You've got adversity hitting once again with injuries and stuff like that. And I know we'll probably get into a little bit of KPJ and how that affects the backcourt and really how that affects now the trade market, right? Because if he's being tossed in all of these convos amongst Twitter and stuff like that, and if he's a piece that's valuable, now that goes down because he's been playing hurt and he is hurt. So, you just gotta figure out the moves that you need to make, and I think it starts with bolstering the backcourt, bolstering the depth, and maybe just a wing. Like, I don't believe that a Zach LaVine or a big name, a Michael Porter Jr. as just one move fixes it. A Ja Morant as just one move fixes it. I certainly think they can help. Obviously, we think the ceiling for Ja is pretty high, but I think you need more. And there's moves in the margins that John Horst has made in the past that have proved to be successful. You just take a look at how he was able to flip Marjon Beauchamp for KPJ. Yeah. So I think you can't go into this thinking it's just going to be one home run trade. More so, I think it'll be trying to at least give us some options everywhere instead of just one guy.
See, I think Doc is so bad that I would just go with the talent. Like, I think John, I would agree with you, but I think Doc Rivers, I don't trust the margin moves Doc Rivers can get them to play at a high level and make it work, or even to put the guys in the right positions. And so because of that, I would just go with the best talent, which is Ja Morant, and hope that it works out. I'm not saying that it will. I'm just saying I hope it works out. Then you fire Doc at the end of the year. Let me see. Somebody else said something about the Scream Sam said, not entirely true. Celtics tank and draft key players to lead championship. It's not that's not exactly true. The Celtics, if you, I believe they were able to get their players due to the trade they made with Brooklyn for when they traded Paul Pierce and or was that part of the KG or something like that? I'm not remembering, but again, I believe their that group was washed when they made those trades. Like Giannis is still in his prime. Like KG and them boys were washed out in Brooklyn, and they made if I'm not mistaken, I think that's how they were able to get their draft picks. But again, that would be like trading Giannis at age 30 if he re-signed again and you traded him in 4 years down the line. Let me see. There's one more super chat. Dustin Wagner says, if the Bucks were a 500 team and we're on pace to finish with 46 wins and a 6+ seed, I get it. But Giannis is 31 and used goods. I disagree with used goods. You need to get 2 fringe all-stars, a handful of picks to move on. Again, well, if Giannis doesn't miss a third of the season, they are a 500 team. I'm just saying he was hurt. Again, same thing. He's always we say used goods. If you want to say damaged goods, maybe a better term. But I just want to get in the dance, man. Like I just do think a lot of you guys are undervaluing what it is, how it is to feel relevant. And so many of those Bucks teams post 2001, post Eastern Conference Finals run were irrelevant. And I'm telling you, it sucks to be irrelevant. The Bucks right now, even as the 11 seed and battling, they are still relevant because of Giannis. When Giannis goes away, your team becomes irrelevant. And I'm telling you, as a fan of the Panthers, it is not fun to be irrelevant. And I get this isn't too much fun either right now, but there's at least the hope, the swing that you can get it right. There is a chance that listen, for everybody saying trade, there is a chance that it works out. I'm just saying I don't know that gives you any better chance than having Giannis and company and trying to continue pushing the ball down the line. But again, we got 2 weeks, Chris, and we'll see how it kind of shakes out. Last thing I want to get at before we start wrapping this thing up. I know we said we try to keep it short tonight. But KPJ and Miles Turner. KPJ's going to be out with an oblique strain. Again, I thought that explained some of his poor play over the last week and a half or so. Doc Rivers said it had been 5 games since he had hurt himself. And so he tried to play through that injury and obviously just continues to bother him. And it looked like it. I mean, his shooting percentages are down over the last 5 games. His scoring is down. He's averaging 18. I looked it up. He's averaging 18.5 points outside of the last 5 games. In the last 5 games, he's averaging 10.8 points. His assist, his shooting percentage, his free throw percentage, his 3-point percentage, all of those numbers in the last 5 games, much worse than they have been throughout if you exclude those 5 games from him. So I think KPJ, again, he started to play a little worse, but clearly had something bothering him.
You did not look like the great KPJ that we saw earlier in the season at all. You certainly started to see things that you could now kind of look back in hindsight and say, yeah, I could see how he was hurt. There were a lot of lazy plays, a lot of lazy possessions offensively with him that typically just kind of looked like, okay, KPJ is just rough. KPJ is rough tonight. But when it kept happening, now you can kind of see why the effort, the kind of moving slower, not getting to the rim as much. Like now, I guess you could kind of make that excuse. But this sucks. This does suck because I look at this like, okay, for example, I see Ryan Rollins with the ball in his hands at the end of the shot clock today. There's just no wiggle. There's no creating space. Let's just try a step back 3 and it's contested and it's like, well, at least KPJ gives you the opportunity to kind of slice to the rim with some of his moves and or maybe involve other people on the offense a little bit more. I mean, even when he was having bad shooting nights, he still was able to distribute at a decent level, sometimes get in over his head and get too shot chuck happy. But it's tough for this backcourt because you haven't had Cole Anthony for a long time. He had basically been just kicked to the bench. And then now he's expected to come in and make some impact. And we saw a small spurt of it tonight. But for the rest of the game, it was kind of non-impactful. And the game was already out of reach at that point, let's be honest. So he's going to have to step up. Ryan Rollins is going to have to step up. And, yeah, I mean, I thought Ryan Rollins did a good job versus Atlanta. But, you know, when you play a good team and a team that is very active in ball pressure, it kind of exposes those flaws a little bit. So he's got to be better. Hopefully it's a learning experience for him to get that experience with the ball in his hands and continue to do that and continue to not make mistakes.
Yeah, no, he's gonna have to pick it up. He's gonna have to play well. He's gonna have to play like he played to start the season when KPJ was out and Giannis was out some. And again, I think it was some of that scouting report kind of thing. And yeah, just like I said, this injury will hurt the Bucks. Maybe this spurs the moment to go get a Ja Morant or something like that. Maybe this increases the desperation for the Bucks to make a move. But well, again, we'll see with exactly what they look to do. And I don't know, man.
I mean, realistically, though, when you look at like some of the sorry to cut you off, but like when you look at some of the trade packages like that people are throwing out there, like that Keon Ellis and Malik Monk, hey, we might try that. Like I don't believe that that's a bad move for the Milwaukee Bucks, and it gives you some perimeter defense at this point, because I think with KPJ being out, this backcourt just I don't believe in it. I don't believe that they stand a chance.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Nah, they don't. And again, AJ Green defensively, he can get all plays. Ball pressure was tough on him. I agree. I mean, again, the team has a lot of holes. They really do. They have a lot of holes, and it doesn't help. The head coach is not good either. It just doesn't help. So people talking about, it's just so funny. People talking about again. Every time I just keep going back to these picks and people. I think y'all are also not. How many of these top picks are ass? And when I say ass, maybe not like ass, but like they ain't doing that unless you get something real. Paolo Banchero, good player. It was hope. Ooh, he gonna be nah. He's not. He's a good player. He's not. I don't even know he could be a number two on a. I don't even know he could be a number two on a championship team. Maybe. What's man? Zachary Ricochet? What was he picked? Where did he go? Was he a number two pick, number one pick?
He's number one.
Ass. What's the man? Alex Sarr from what? Did he turn their franchise around? I'm just trying to tell you, like, and Washington starts a whole grip of top 10
actually,
picks.
I think it might have been Sarr number one. It was one of those two.
Washington starts a grip. Oh, they got like 3 starters that were all like top 10 guys. Ass. I'm just trying. Like, will you just give me all? We're gonna have a pick. It's ass. And then every now and then you luck up and you get a Victor Wembanyama, or you get a Cooper Flag. Something like, again, a lot of times it's the teams that are winning, they get a superstar and they're hitting somewhere else. It's somewhere else in that draft. It's not like all the time. I'm just saying it's just not easy to do. We're talking Dylan Harper and Castle, good players. They ain't never gonna be. You give me both of them right now for y'all. If those are your 2 leading players in the next 5 years, the team's going nowhere. Spurs are going nowhere without lucking up and getting number one pick to get Victor Wembanyama. They be going nowhere. And again, I tell you, if you think that old Mr. Pencil is going to rig them lottery balls from Milwaukee, got another thought coming. Not a chance. No, I said SARS 20. Said SARS 20. Okay, so wait 5 years till he gets 25 then. That's what I'm trying to. What I'm saying is it's the hope. Yeah, I'm not saying SAR might end up being good. It's cool. You're going to wait 5 years for it. You're going to wait. That's what I'm saying. And when you say, oh, rebuild, you're going to wait, and you can't sim the season. You're going to wait, and you're going to watch him do nothing. And you're going to watch Washington do nothing again, and nothing again, and nothing again, and nothing again. And do you see what they had to do to go try to start? Now they go get Trae Young. And I've seen this Trae Young experiment before. I've seen it. The Washington Wizards are now the Atlanta Hawks with a different cast around Trae Young, unless they do something else. But I've seen this movie before, and it didn't work. They had a fluke year in Atlanta, and maybe Washington will get themselves. That's not a championship team. That's not a championship team next year with Trae Young. Not even close. And I don't care who they get in the draft this year. It's not gonna be close. So you just gonna be what they put putting lipstick on a pig. Trae Young's gonna be the lipstick on the pig for Atlanta for Washington next year. All I'm trying to do is face you with the reality of it's so much easier to say it than do it. And last thing I'll say, and then we can move on because we have 2 weeks to talk about this. The last thing I say is damn, I lost it. Last thing I was say, about the media. The media pump this up, and I think a lot of people listen to media and it gets in your heads. They don't give a damn about Milwaukee. Like when they're like, "Oh, it's best for the franchise and it's best for Giannis," and da-da-da, and they're doing all this stuff. They don't care about what's best for the Bucks. They don't, because, and I said this to the guy at CBS today. That hardwood Paxarum dude, I think his name is Matt Moore. CBS sits around in his basement and writes articles, whatever. He doesn't care about the Milwaukee Bucks because at the end of the day, when Giannis gets traded, they've already got their stories. They're going to be talking about the team he got traded to, and they're never going to talk about the Bucks again. That's the reality. And that's why it's easy to say, I think he said something like, "Oh, their ego won't let him trade him. Their ego," and that. It's easy to say that when you have no vested interest in the Bucks. And once he's traded, you just move on. Because you're not going to be, those writers, they're not going to be around to pick up the pieces and watching the team and caring about the organization in the city. They're not going to be there anymore. They're not going to be there anymore. Mac Chumon says Kobe's last years as a Laker were sad. Yeah, maybe. But I you can't take back that moment where he put up, did he do 60 in his last game? Mm-hmm. Can't take that back, man. That was a hell of a moment. Hell of a moment. And last thing I say on that, and I bet you Lakers, if they had done all, they would have took forever to get right back where they were and win a championship in 22. And none of that stops that. They won a championship a decade after winning the championship in 2010, after the Kobe stuff. We say it was sad, yeah, maybe. But I'll say this. You know what I love? I love the fact that I don't gotta go watch Kobe. I don't gotta watch Kobe highlights and be like, damn, he played for the Celtics one year. He played, damn, Kobe played for them goof like Shaq. And then in Shaq's career, he playing for 15 teams looking like, yeah, why we gotta watch Michael Jordan in the Wizards jersey, man? Nah, it don't look good. It don't look good. Anyway, that's all I got. Anything else, Chris, or before we get to Twitter and look around? All right.
I mean, I do think, I mean, you have a point with the national media. Like, even the clip I saw you quote today, Bill Simmons, saying, "Hey, Giannis, just go ahead and ask for that trade. Like, we just go ahead and do it, rip the Band-Aid off." It's like, well, it's easy to say that as a national guy. That's probably not watching many Bucks games anyway, just looking at the record. And the record
100%.
does tell the story, though. The record tells the story. We are ass. But it's easy to just sit there and say that when you want to see Giannis team up with somebody else, because that's what is going to get the most clicks.
No, 100%. I mean, yeah, it's not right. It's just such an easy thing for the media to do. And Bill Simmons is one of those guys that, yeah, he's gonna have that conversation, that he's gonna have those talking points, and he's never gonna talk about the Bucks again. Let me see. King of Kings says, "Trey, the Bucks are cooked." Mohan says, "Yeah, you better move Giannis before it gets too late." I honestly believe that this summer, and that's the other thing about moving them now. I think you can get the same packages this summer. I think you get more of a chance for an arms race this summer than you would trying to make the money and make it move during the season. And even if he asked out, I honestly, I don't know that I'd do it. I'd be like, "Hey, yeah, you finish this year for me. I got you. You finish this year, we'll do it in the offseason." That's probably what I'd tell him, honestly. All right, let's go to Twitter. See what Twitter's saying. Notions of Nick says, "Giannis is quiet quitting. Bucks are waving the white flag. Doc collecting checks with eyes on golf season. Ryan Rollins going downhill. Trade what you can for draft capital. At J Phil in Texas says they're checked out. Act Sunk 345 says Lou Dort is strong as hell. He's built like Ray Lewis with the lateral quickness of a cat. Giannis just couldn't move the guy. Lost a squat and leg press contest to the kettlebell block of mass. That is Lou Dort. That was like a Chat GPT tweet. At Gabber MJ32 says either go big and get Ja Morant or it's time to trade Giannis. Regardless, this year is lost. NYC Range says, yeah, I think it's time, fellas. Team's horrible. Doc refuses to let Giannis run point. Just trade him away. Let's restart. Get the best offer for him. Ryan99 says could be way uglier, not gonna lie. A couple more here at Red Crayon 27 says KPJ is top 6 in the league in defensive miles covered per game. Good thing we have a draft pick this year. And then at JoJo 2024 loves says can't even be mad at the results because the Thunder are just better in every way, and it showed. Anything on Twitter?
That was my takeaway. Main takeaway. It just shows that they are a better team right now. And I think just for everybody that's, I guess, with the trade Giannis stuff and rebuild and all that stuff, I would say, and some people saying with the desperation of trying to get one piece, like this 2 weeks will tell all. I don't believe that anything happens from the Bucks side or Giannis's side. So what you have now is, as a fan, you kind of just react to what the moves are and see if whatever John Horst pulls off in desperation, back against the wall, what is that going to look like in 2 weeks? And just wait on that, because I don't believe Giannis will be out. I don't believe he'll ask out. What does it look like 2 weeks from now? And hopefully it doesn't get bad enough to where it's 10 games below 500 and it's literally, having to win multiple games in a row. Otherwise you're cooked halfway through March. Like, no, that can't happen. So they've at least got to salvage a little bit here in these next 2 weeks as a team and an on-court product.
Yeah. Tom Merrill says he thinks there's a 30% chance they got still a team in 2 weeks. Again, if you look on different publications, different betting websites, they have it around 75% chance that he remains in Milwaukee right now. Again, I just, and Todd, only I say, even for people that want to move Giannis, it's just so tough to pull off in the middle of it. Like that's the thing. And here's what I'll say too. This is the last thing I'll say. In 2 weeks, what we know right now is the Bucks have not taken calls on Giannis. I just don't know how quickly you could put something together that would make sense for the Milwaukee Bucks. Not only would it have to make sense, but you'd also have, because this is the thing, you're not going to, I just don't believe they say, okay, we'll send you to the Knicks. Okay, we'll send you to the Heat. I just don't think they're going to do that. So if that's not what you're going to do, that means you have to there has to be a arms race, a bidding war that you put together. And you're telling me that the Bucks haven't been taking calls on Giannis all year, and in less than 2 weeks now, not only are they going to open up trade discussions and start calls, but they're going to work out a framework with a bidding war for, let's say, at least 6 teams. They're going to work all that out in 2 weeks, and they haven't been doing it already. And again, unless you're going to send Giannis wherever he wants to go, and I just don't think the Bucks are going to do that. So, no. And I also disagree. You're going to get a better haul now than after. No, I don't think you will. Because, again, you have to remember, Todd, rosters are expanded in the offseason. All teams are also going to get another pick. So, in theory, everybody's going to get another future pick. You could, if you do it before the draft, you could get what somebody's picked this year before the draft. You could get and then you could get an extra future pick on the back end, plus expanded rosters to make the money work. The apron starts over for team. I'm just saying there's so much more logistically that you can get done after the year versus in season. And again, it's just going to be tough if you have not already started that process on taking calls. Because I said it's easy to do it with Ja Morant. It's much easier to do it with Ja Morant because there's no huge package to get. Like there's not a big demand for Ja Morant. So to get something worked out in a couple weeks, that might not be as hard. But to get Giannis in a deal in 2 weeks and open up a bidding war, I don't see it. I don't see it. Again, I'm with you guys. If it doesn't work out, I think there's a high likelihood Giannis is gone after the year. I'm with you there. I just think in 2 weeks, I think it's very tough to pull off. Very tough.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Game ball. You give me game ball. I'm giving mine out to. I'll just start. Game ball night, no question, goes to Shea. 40 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 steal, 16 and 19 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. He's a plus 19. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander gets the game ball. AKA the MVP, AKA going back to back, AKA I ain't got none.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just go ahead and just swing it back to Martin Luther King Jr. Day where Pete Nance hooped that day too. Hooped tonight was a bright spot for us in a night where there wasn't many bright spots at all. So I go Pete Nance for those 2 games, that 2-game stretch of being at the end of the bench and then coming in and immediately being a small bright spot on this basketball team. So I go Pete Nance, a.k.a. I look like I played in the 70s, a.k.a. run like a gazelle, a.k.a. I can shoot that thing. I don't play like my brother. There you go.
He don't play like him. All right, let's look around the league. Rivalry games tonight, I guess.
Stupid.
Cavs beat the Hornets 94-87. Celtics beat the Pacers 119-104. The Knicks, you talk about rivalry. Knicks beat the Nets 120-66.
Oh my God.
My God. 120-66. That is disgusting. Knicks were on a slide. I think they were like 2-9 in their last 11. And then what better than to get the the Brooklyn Nets on the schedule. The Hawks beat the Grizzlies 124-122. Pistons beat the Pelicans tonight. Raps beat the Kings. That's everything from the NBA side of things. Will and Quiz 8415 says, did you get that money from the national title game? Not yet. I'm still waiting. JT, you owe me. I don't make. Hey, that's why he ducking me. He ain't on the show tonight. He ducking me. Don't make me have to go call the henchmen. And hey, we breaking legs around here, man. Hey, we breaking legs. So JT, better show up. How you looking like Jay Leno? Jay Leno. But yeah, no, that was a. What'd you think of the national title game?
Man, I think Carson Beck just continues to prove that he's gonna fold at some point. As close as he got, man, it's like a game of yards, right? Like you leave that out there a couple more yards, and that may change the outcome of the football game. Instead, still double coverage. He had a guy over top, but underthrew it, and that was that. But I do think from overall in that game, I thought it was a very physical game. I thought it was a lot of high-level football being played. You know, in the trenches, I thought it was a good battle between, Miami was getting back there a little bit, or for the most part, a lot of the game. And Indiana also held serve on defense, and they looked like they belonged too. So it's just a high-level football game. That's 3 straight for the Big Ten. That's an interesting development. Yeah. And before it was another SEC team after Michigan and Ohio State, it was Indiana of all teams. So what Cignetti's been able to do there is very impressive. I got to give it up to Coach Sig. And Mendoza, I mean, he didn't have the best game, of course. He was running for his life all game, really. Didn't have much time, but he did show up on that last kind of quarterback draw, whatever that was. Maybe he dropped back to pass, I don't know. But gutsy call to go for it there, score the touchdown, and then the defense held. So props to Indiana. They played a good game. They played a great season. 16-0 is wild. They just to not even to play some of those close games that they had, Ohio State Big Ten championship, to play. Obviously, Oregon didn't keep it close, or Alabama, but that one with basically all the pressure. It's almost a home game for Miami. One touchdown wins the game almost, and they held serve, and they showed why they're the best team this year.
Yeah, no, they absolutely did. It was a good job from them. Carson Beck threw it to a cover two. I don't know that he saw it. I really don't know that he saw it because and now I teach cover two corner, sink for width, sink for depth. DB did a great job doing that, and yeah, I think I just don't know. I don't know what he saw. I really don't know what he saw as to why he decided to throw that ball there. And then yeah, you had Mendoza had his Heisman moment. He had it was an up and down rough game from him, but then he had a Heisman moment. He dropped back, a little QB draw or whatever, and dive over everybody for the win. So definitely entertaining title game. I thought it was fun, and but I'll say this: Mendoza's probably gonna go to the Raiders. I don't see number one. I don't see number one overall quarterback, number one overall pick in it. Like to me, honestly, like Shador is a better quarterback than him. So just as a prospect to me, and so I don't see it. Not to say that he won't be able to. They won't be able to get a coach in there with him. They can develop him. It can work. I think he's okay, but I mean, I just don't. I really don't see the intangibles that stand out. But that's me. I don't make those decisions, so we'll see kind of where things stand with him. NFL side of things, I mean, did we? I mean, yeah. Today's we weren't on it.
Talk about it.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, yeah, I thought that man, it's got two things. CJ Stroud's falling off a cliff. I mean, again, he was
trash.
He was bad as bad gets. And then you go to that Bears game, and Caleb Williams. I mean, it's just got to be great to throw 3 picks in a game and have everybody think you played the greatest. To throw 3 picks and then to throw the pick in overtime. That was, I mean, again, you can blame DJ Moore if you want to, but that ball was going nowhere. But it was whether you want to blame DJ Moore for the route, it was a bad throw. It wasn't there. If the route was good, it wasn't going to be there. So I mean, if he ran with effort, but I mean, yeah, it's just nice to throw. It was nice to throw 3 picks and have the entire, everybody act like it was you did some, wonderful job because you ran backwards and threw a. I mean, that was a prayer. That's what I'm saying. You're just not. Again, you're not. I'm saying you're not going to win. I have a hard time seeing the Bears repeat what they did this year because you just can't. You can't win games like that, man. Like that is not a winning formula. To always either have to be coming back because he didn't play. He's got to put together complete games. And again, I'm not saying it's not something you can look forward to from Caleb Williams, but until you can put together complete games, you'll always be in those situations. I will say he can make any throw, and that is the spectacular, throwing ability, throw power from him. He can do those kind of things. But when you need it, you want the guy that's going to be accurate all over the field consistently, and that's why he didn't come through for him.
Well, it feels like they had the weapons to be a team that could play for a full 60 minutes out there. Like you had the tandem of a running back duo that's can be good, and you drafted Luther Burden, who was coming along for you late in the season, and obviously the weapons in Colston Loveland and DJ Moore and Rome, and it's just like I don't understand how they even made that sustainable, their play style this year to be these guys who don't really show up until the second half. So that's an interesting point, yeah. And then the only other thing, now that sets up an interesting matchup between LA and Seattle, because when they played in the regular season, nobody played defense. And that's been, Seattle's strong suit. And I thought it was interesting, too, that the Seahawks just mopped the floor with San Fran. which I mean, now a 97-yard kickoff return touchdown that'll put some life into you. So, all interesting things to think about. And then obviously on the opposite side, the big story is Josh Allen and that call, the interception that people believed was not an interception, and who knows. I thought it was pretty clear it was probably a catch, but you also don't want to leave that split-second decision in their hands. And you know, Buffalo fans, even when Patrick Mahomes is not in the playoffs, they still find a way to complain about the officiating. Josh Allen shouldn't have had 4 turnovers. That fumble at the end of the half was egregiously stupid. Stupid. And so I only go so far with blaming the refs for things when you had the opportunities to just win the game.
Let me say the only call that was incorrect was the first pass interference they called. The other pass interference where he pulled him out, that was a pass interference. And again, the guy took the ball from him. I mean,
that's what it looked like to me.
He didn't have possession of it. You can post steal shots all you want. He didn't have the ball, and again, what would have happened if that ball had? Because here's the question you have to ask: is if he had possession of it, then you're saying that if the ball had fallen out of his hands, that it still would have been a completed pass because he had possession. He never had possession. The ball just didn't happen to hit the ground. It ended up in somebody else's hands. And so that's how that went. I think it was I think that call was correct. Matter of fact, I think it happened again, something similar the next game. And it was correctly called an incomplete pass. So, because the guy didn't have it, or he did have it, whatever it was. And it was kind of the same scenario. But it's interesting that, that the GM stays, coach gets fired. And I'll say this, the only thing I'll say it's just funny how those things can happen depending on whether you as the coach are viewed as a tandem with the GM. And if you're viewed as a package, then you get fired. If you're not viewed as a package, if you use a package, both people get fired. If you're not viewed as a package, one guy can stay, one guy can go. And I don't know if you saw the owner for the Bills came out today and basically blamed the coaching staff for drafting Keon Coleman. And then you had these videos that come out from the combine of Brandon Beane talking about, glad he ran a 4.56 because that means we can get it. So, I mean, he literally takes credit. It's that was bizarre and kind of wild. But again, everybody goes in self-preservation mode. That is what it is. But I say it's funny. Like I said, that happens in Buffalo, where you trade one guy, don't trade the other. And then you look at a situation like Atlanta, where Terry Fontenot, the GM, gets fired along with Raheem Morris. They fire them together, and Raheem Morris, quiet as kept. He only got 2 years, and in his second year, they showed a lot of improvement at the end of the season. But Terry Fontenot they haven't had a winning season. That was the story that came out of Atlanta. Well, they hired Stefanski. They hired Matt Ryan. Well, Atlanta has had a winning season in 5 years. Raheem Morris wasn't a part of that. Raheem Morris wasn't ever fired. So it's like, why is the coach being fired for the sins of the GM? But again, they got viewed as a package. They got fired, which is why excellent decision from Mike McDaniels not taking that job in Cleveland, because Andrew Berry survives. Andrew Berry survives. They fire Stefanski. Berry's not surviving again. You got 2 more years. You bring in a new coach. Y'all are getting fired together. That's how I guarantee we come at this in 2 years. If Cleveland hadn't turned around, the coach is not surviving the GM. They're both going to get fired. So that's a really bad job. And by the way, not only is it a really bad job, it's a bad job because you have a GM that's already been there and it's probably going to get fired, and you can get fired with him. But it's also a bad job because the quarterbacks on that roster, I believe they all have for minimum games, for the minimum game amount, like the worst QBRs over whatever stretch of games it is between Shador, the other kid, Gabriel, and your boy, Mr. Massage. Yep. So, but yeah, that's all I got. Anything else, Chris? You want to get at? I had something else, but I'm gonna save it for a full house. I know some people want. I saw a picture of Megan Trainor and I'm with her kid. We'll do that. We'll do that another time.
JT's gonna eat that segment up.
I know. I gotta wait for JT to. We'll have some fun with the Megan Trainor stuff. But okay, anything else you got, Chris?
No, shout out to Will Lindquist for always pulling up in the chat and being at these miserable games sometimes. Sometimes it ends in a terrible loss, but he's always, after exiting the Fiserv, he's always in the Cream City crossover chat. So we appreciate the love there. Obviously, everybody who's returning and showing all this love throughout this season in a pretty tumultuous season. We definitely appreciate that, and shout out to Justin. Hopefully he feels better. He got a little sickness, so we can't wait to have Justin back, JT back, all that.
Yeah, no, we appreciate all you guys. Bro_Sasser was any post game coverage. I did see a quote from. I saw one quote from Doc. I didn't see anything else. I'm really interested to see if Giannis says anything.
Did Doc say we're gonna win 5 in a row now? Does that 5 in a row streak start now?
Yeah, we'll see. Well, he did say something similar because he said that that's funny. He talked about the Thunder and how they defended Giannis well, but the other thing he talked about was he talked about how they have a bunch of winnable games coming up and they're all at home. They got some rest. So he said the next 4 or 5 games are gonna be really big for us. Right. Bet they are. And they, you have the Buck. You got. So here's the other thing that's happening. Just as we're on this, I don't know if you noticed. There's a huge storm coming to the Carolinas. We should be and they're like saying it's gonna be a bunch of ice. So we'll see what the power situation is like. Should be good for. It doesn't start till Saturday, so I think Friday the Bucks play at 9:30 again. But yeah, we should be good. I should be good there. But we'll see kind of what happens over the weekend with the power situation. But yeah, that's all I saw on that. Well, look, it's CC's the only place to get on. There you go. We're the place. Come here. You'll get the interview. And bro says he wants the interview. I like that too. Justin does a really good job of getting interviews. So when he's back, he's the one that pulls all the Doc Rivers post game. So that's been a really a real fun time. Please hit that like button for us. Everybody, if you didn't hit the like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. I got Daryl Clayton's laughing because he was in on the Megan Trainor stuff. I know you'll be back, so we'll do it. We'll do it when everybody's here. Appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. Could have been anywhere in the world. But you're here with us in the middle of a week. It's now Thursday, but it's the middle of a week. It's 1:30 on the East Coast, past midnight in the Midwest. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, not just tune in, but tune in after the Bucks got absolutely smoked against OKC in prime time. So it's tough to come on and listen to a post-game show after that. But you guys were here. You guys were with us. We appreciate it. And we'll keep working hard for you. Please hit that like button, subscribe, do all those good things for us. Please tell friends, tell them about the Cream City Cross. It is best Milwaukee Bucks Postgame Show in all of the land. Let's see. Yeah, Jane Horse says we'll see you Friday night. Yeah, it will be another late show. Absolutely. We appreciate it. This has been the Cream City Media Group of from the Group, sir.
Chris King. Miami
enemy is only because I dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no wood nickels. Kurt.